Hey, John, how's it going? You can talk. I unmuted you.
Hello.
Hello. So everybody that's coming in, that you're all muted. So if you can't talk to me, I mean, if you can hear me, right? Julia, you can hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Because I think I'm unmuted.
Yeah. Julia, did you want me? You can talk now, Julia. I unmuted you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kelly. I'm so sorry. I have had a wildly busy day at the hospital and haven't been able to be on my personal email at all today. But I think let's just go with the original PowerPoint presentation that I sent, just because that's what I'm familiar with. Does that
Okay.
work?
That works great for me. I'm just going to get that
Okay.
off of my list here then.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And I apologize. It literally has been one of those days that I couldn't even open up my personal email until now.
It's no problem at all. And I actually was working in another office and didn't even get Stuart's email until about an hour ago.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah. We'll just leave it as it is. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. That works. I'm going to keep everybody muted throughout everything until it's your turn to talk. So that way we just get rid of distractions and background noise and that kind of thing. So the folks that are with me, you can see the chat on the right-hand side.
Yes.
Anne, can you see the chat on the right-hand side?
Let's see.
Oh, you must be driving. Okay, Anne must be driving.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute her.
No, I'm at home. I can see the chat.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to put you back on mute. There's a lot of background noise on yours. Okay. Hi, Shelly.
Hi.
Hi, I'm going to mute you, okay? So we're not ignoring you if you talk. We just can't hear you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Boy, a lot of background noise, huh?
Yeah.
And John must have muted himself. I'm going to mute you too, Julia. So whenever we get to your presentation, I'll unmute you.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, for those just joining us, you are on mute. With this being such a large call, we have everybody muted upon entry. So the chat is open on the side. If you have something urgently to say, just please send me a message on the side. But as we go through the presentation, I will unmute when the presenter is ready to ask for questions. Hey, Julia. Hi, Julia.
Hello, I can't hear you yet.
Can you hear
Let's
me?
see. Um, hmm. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you, so let's see if I have mute on or something. Let's see, where would I find that? Oh, what in the world just happened? There you are.
Got me
You can
now?
tell I don't do this all the dang time. Oh, there's
Okay.
mute. Let's see.
Yes, I'm gonna mute everybody during the call, but can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing, Kelly?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Hi, John. Hi, Jim.
Hi,
I have-
Julia.
I have everybody muted except for Jim and me. At
See how
this,
you are?
and I'm gonna mute you, Julia, because we're getting more and more people coming in, okay?
All right.
Okay, Jim, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, I can hear you okay.
Okay.
Okay, we're getting quite a few, some without videos, but hopefully they're on actually a screen where they can see the presentations as we go. Again, if you're just coming in, you are muted. You'll just have to sit and observe. If you have a question, ask it in the chat room on the side. This is to keep from background noise interrupting the meeting. And it's 4:24. Jim, I will start at 4:29 with that video.
Okay.
So we'll give a few more minutes here going and hopefully
You know how everybody always comes in at the last minute, right?
right. I'm looking for our first presenter and I don't see her on here yet. So I don't see our second. There might be our second. Let me unmute her a minute. Hi, Cindy.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Is your last name Cloud?
Cloyd.
Cloyd, you say Cloyd. Okay, perfect. You're my second presenter. I just wanted to make sure I had you on there.
Perfect.
Have the right person. So, okay, I'm going to mute you until we get to you. Okay.
Sounds great. Bye-bye.
Oh, I wanted to ask Julia Hemstra if it's Hemstra or Heemstra.
Okay, you're unmuted, Julia.
It's Heemstra.
Heemstra. Okay.
Yes, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, how long's your video, Jim?
How long is the one that? I don't know. It's probably 3 or 4 minutes at least.
Okay, well, why don't I start it now?
Okay.
Okay.
Kelly, can you hear me?
Can't hear too much of the music. Kelly, can you turn up the music on it?
Turn up the volume on the video itself. Now turn up the volume on your computer, Kelly.
It's not what?
Turn up the volume on your computer as well.
It's not coming through to you guys?
No.
No.
Oh, I said to share the sound too. Okay, let me turn it up and see if it comes up.
Yeah, there we go.
Kelly, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hi, Kelly.
Okay, Jim. Oh,
Okay.
hold on
Welcome,
a second.
everyone. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jim Epstein, the District 5440 Grants Chair. I want to welcome you to our first international Zoom meeting. And we have over 50 people signed up for the call. So I think that is really a good start for this first one. So could you give me the first slide, please, Kelly? Okay. We live in a connected world, connected by the economy, by our environment, by technology and travel. And what happens in one part of the world is reflected in many other parts of the world. And the importance of this is shown in the Rotary International theme for this year, selected by RI President Mark Maloney, Rotary Connects the World. We all realize this, and tonight we have with us 8 people who are actually taking real action in that regard. Could I have the next slide, please? I do hear some background noise on it, Kelly. I don't know if everybody hears that, like an echo or something.
I'm gonna look and see if I can see who is maybe unmuted.
So tonight we have with us 8 presenters, and I have one that needs to be updated here. We have Lucinda Kirchensteiner from the Rotary Club of Fort Collins, Cynthia Cloyd from the Rotary Club of Fort Collins Breakfast,
Turn the light
Krishna
up.
Murthy, Rotary Club of Fort Collins Breakfast, Julia Murray from the Rotary Club of Evanston, Robin Steele from the Rotary Club of Fort Collins, and instead of Ken Small, we have Julia Heemstra from the Rotary Club of Jackson Hole, Dave Stewart from the Rotary Club of Fort Collins, and Rajiv Mehta from the Rotary Club of Fort Collins also. So could I have the next slide, please? So to help everybody with these grants, we're talking mostly about global grants tonight. And one of the things that I wanted to mention was that the district contributes about $100,000 roughly every year to global grants. That is matched. No, take it.
Sorry.
That is matched by Rotary International, which is another $125,000. And so we spend about $225,000 each year on global grants. So this is pretty significant. And to help with these grants, we have a grants committee from the district that's led by Randy Looper for district grants, John Trone for global grants, Bill Kale is the grants treasurer.
Yeah.
And we also have a grant cadre. These are people who are specialists in one of the Rotary's 6 areas of focus. And that's Krishna Murthy for disease prevention and treatment, Lynn Vella for education and literacy, Paul Abair, water and sanitation, Bill Timpson, peace and conflict resolution, Larry Salmon, maternal and child health, and Pat Butts, economic and community development. So I hope you find this evening interesting and inspiring. And I'm sure that you will see lots of interesting projects going on in the district that you might not have heard about. So I'd like to turn it over now to John Trone, who will talk about what's going to happen today.
Muted.
You're good?
I'm good. You can hear me? Hello, this is John Trone from the District Grants Committee. Just want to talk about a bit why we're here. I mean, I think our primary goal tonight is to expose more clubs to the projects out there in the district, which there's quite a few. Thereby bringing clubs together to have successful international projects. I mean, when you talk about international projects, there's a lot to them. I mean, first, they require large-scale fundraising. Projects start at $30,000 and go right up over $200,000. Second, they require international travel. You at least want to get to the project site once. Often, you want to be there before the project starts, during the project, and follow up after the project. Third, they require long-term commitments. We're talking in most projects from formation, from idea to finalization, we're talking in years, not months. Given this, we believe partnerships between various clubs are the best or ideal approach to complete successful global grants. And in general, this meeting, we hope to foster some new partnerships with some of the grants out there. I mean, your club can partner in numerous ways. I mean, the first most obvious way is money. Your club can contribute to any of the projects being presented through matching grants. All the projects are listed. The links are in the agenda. If you click on the links, it'll tell you more about the projects, and you can put in your club contribution directly into the project. Also, matching grants is a great resource to see all the District 5440 projects that have been completed in the past and are in progress at any time. You can just search on District 5440. Second, most of these projects have travel opportunities if you want to go visit the country where the project's at. It's just a great way to meet the host club and learn more about the country and the opportunities available. And third, most of these projects are not a one and done thing. The person doing these projects has a partner club in the host country, and those partner clubs can hook you up with a future project. Normally there's a numerous opportunities in the communities they're working in. And it's really tough on one club to do a continuous group of global grants one year after another. And it's much better if one club can do a grant one year and then possibly another club can take over and be the lead on a grant or a project in the following year. And lastly, I'd just like to thank you all for taking the time and attending, and I hope you enjoy the presentations. Feel free to put your questions in the chat window. And if we don't get to the questions, feel free to email them, and we'll definitely follow up later on. I think first up, we have Lucinda.
All right, thank you. And am I in control of slides or you guys? Is that right?
Kelly's in control of slides.
Kelly's in control. Okay, thank you, Kelly. Hi, my name's Lucinda. I'm with the Rotary Club in Fort Collins, and I'm going to give you a quick introduction to the organization that conducts the work along with Rotary on the ground in South Africa and the work that we do, and then this particular project. So I'll be talking fast because I know we have some time constraints, but the organization I'm representing is called UHAMBO. We are specialists in the disability sector. We've been collectively doing this work in Africa for over 25 years. And we do that through on-the-ground work in communities in Southern Africa by going into communities, doing assessments of children with disabilities to actually identify who are the children with disabilities. We provide training in the community so that they can manage and provide care for the children with disabilities, and they can do this on their own. So we're providing training in the community to the caregivers, to the family, to the community workers, so that they can properly provide care to children with disabilities. We also provide locally made appropriate wheelchairs, and those are made with our partner organization in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm here in Fort Collins, and I do work with UHAMBO, and I'm a Rotary member as well, and we have successfully been rewarded 3 Rotary Global Grants over the past few years, doing various types of this type of community work with children with disabilities, with the ultimate goal of having the children be introduced to more opportunities in their community for inclusion, by also providing them with appropriate wheelchairs so they have mobility, and through the wheelchair they then again are provided opportunities for inclusion, and by providing training so that they're properly cared for and that the government is of support to their needs in the community. So that's
Lucinda, I apologize. I was having problems getting your slideshow to come up there, and then I lost the whole Zoom completely. But I think I've got you back. Which slide are you on?
Now I'll go to the second one.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Can you all see it? Okay.
I lost my Zoom as well.
Yeah,
I trust it somewhere.
Yeah, I can see you're still on. I mean, I can still hear you and such, but.
Oh, I know. I just minimized it. Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you. All right. So let me tell you a bit about the project we're proposing for this global grant. We are looking at a vocational training grant, and we are going to flip the model. So what's really exciting about this project is we're going to turn everything upside down, and we want South Africa to come to the US and train us. So UHAMBO has a very successful educational program for children with disabilities in South Africa. You see a picture of it there. It's a program and a product that helps stimulate the development of children with disabilities by using various activities. It includes a curriculum. This is fairly unique and successful in South Africa. So we want to bring it to the US, and we want to use the VTT to kick off bringing it to the US and training a team of people in the US to then roll out this product in the US. So the program includes a curriculum to train the trainer. So we're actually going into centers where we train educators and teachers and parents on how to use this product, and then they use it within that school or within that center to provide development opportunities for children with disabilities. So the grant we're project we're proposing is to bring a team from South Africa. They're the experts. They're the one who designed this product, and bring them here to train us. And then there'd be an exchange, and our team would go there. So I think you can go to the next slide, Kelly. So our hope with this grant is to actually kick off a financially sustainable social enterprise. This would help seed some of those initial activities so that we could do that. And part of the model is to obviously serve children with disabilities in the US, provide a additional funding stream for our partner organization in South Africa so they can do more work in their region, and to develop a mutual exchange, of course, with these vocational training teams, and align ourselves with South Africa and a US team. We have a very strong club in South Africa that is very excited about this, and they've conducted over 12 vocational training grants. So they have a lot of experience, and I believe we just need, I think it was on the previous slide, but I think we just need about $6,000 more. On the next slide, you'll just see some photos of the product. I know it's a lot to absorb. So this is a picture of the actual product. In those bags, those colorful bags, you'll see are different toys and activities that are used with children. These are pictures from my time there in South Africa. This woman is conducting a training at a at a care center, training the trainers on how to use the program. The photo on the left, you'll see like a spiral bound materials. That's the actual curriculum. So we would go in and train the trainer on how to deliver these toys and activities to help stimulate children with disabilities. We know for children with disabilities, stimulation and play is absolutely critical to their development. So I think I'll leave it at that. That's hopefully a good enough overview. I'm happy to answer questions if there's time.
Yes, and I think the best way, instead of everybody chiming in unmuted, if you have a question, please send it here on the right side chat, and you can send it directly to Lucinda at the bottom right corner. You can select her from the drop down menu, and we'll give you all a few minutes if you have a question to send that to her. We have about 3.5 minutes left of her presentation.
Oh, wow. I talked fast.
You did.
And I do have to sign off after my presentation, but you'll see my email there. Robin is also connected to my project. So if you have questions later on, you can direct them to me either over email or to Robin.
Okay,
Can I just chime in with a comment? The project needs $10,000. But if you get around 6,000 plus the 50% match from the World Fund, you're almost there. But if there's also some cash, some DDF, and the World match, of course, it needs less, as you guys probably all understand.
Yay.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay, more time for others. That's cool.
I haven't seen any other questions come through, but they're probably sending them to you directly, Lucinda, if they have any.
Yeah, I'm looking for them. Thank you.
Okay. And if you have questions, go ahead and send those. And Lucinda, you said you'll be getting off the call here shortly, so we can always filter those to Lucinda through email if you don't get it in here in the next minute or so.
Yeah, and my email's on that last slide there
as
well.
Okay, I think we'll move on to the next presentation. Thank you, Lucinda.
Sure, thank you.
And we have got Cynthia coming up, and I've got to unmute you, Cindy. And let me share my screen here and get that up before you start here. And this is where I ran into the problems, was getting rid of the previous slides. There we go. I don't know how I'm losing you guys every time. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you see me?
I know
can
for
see
me,
you.
Kelly, I
There
accidentally,
you are.
yeah, I accidentally minimized the screen. And so,
Yeah, I
yeah,
keep doing something to send
Yeah.
you all somewhere. I'm not sure where I'm sending you, but okay, let me get this next one up here for us.
Perfect.
Okay, I think we're there, Cindy.
Thank you so much. So my name is Cindy Cloyd. I'm with the Fort Collins Breakfast Club, and I've been working on projects in Nigeria since about 2005. You can go to the next slide, Carrie. You can see Nigeria is in the green right here near the bottom of the screen. And you can go to the next slide. This is the country of Nigeria divided into states. If you can see on the far right side, Cross River State, just next to it in yellow is Abia State. This is the state where this project will happen. The violence that's been happening periodically in Nigeria with Boko Haram has been in the northern part of the country, quite a distance from here. You can go to the next slide. What we're trying to do is provide laboratory equipment for Madonna Hospital. For the region, it's a rural region. It's a pretty large hospital, 100 beds. It has a tertiary status, which is pretty impressive for the region. That means it offers 3 specialties. These happen to be ophthalmology, orthopedics, and surgery. Madonna currently cares for over 400 patients a month, over 5,000 patients a year. And the population it serves is rural and about 1 million people. And these people can't afford services at government or private hospitals. So Madonna Hospital provides what we would consider to be indigent care here. I visited and worked in Madonna Hospital in 2011 and in 2016. And Dr. Jerry Smith from the Downtown Club visited also in 2016. So we're familiar with the area and the needs. You can go to the next slide. Thanks. This is a picture of Madonna Hospital before they got the paved streets. So it's pretty basic. It's got 2 stories and 100 beds. You can go to the next one. This is a picture of the heme machine, about the only machine that really is fully automated is what would be the word in the laboratory. They need more automated equipment. Most all of the lab stuff they're doing now is done by hand. It's manual and it's really time consuming, which limits what they can actually do for the patients. You can go to the next slide, Kelly. This is what we need. So if there are any lab people in the audience, sink your teeth into this one. The 5-part differential is handheld. The advantage of that is you can take it to the bedside, and it can also go to some of the feeder clinics or feeder hospitals that, that provide what I'm trying to say. If we have a client or a patient who's sick at one of the outlying facilities, they can be brought into Madonna. This differential could be used in those hospitals as well. We need a chemistry analyzer for metabolic panels. We need an electrolyte analyzer for the key electrolytes, a hormonal assay analyzer, basically for maternal child health, but also some men's health. We need a hematocrit centrifuge and a water filtration system to provide purified water for the equipment. You can go to the next slide. The total cost is $5,297. And of that, that's going to be to purchase the equipment, to install it, to train the laboratory staff, and a 5-year maintenance contract. You can go to the next slide.
I think you misstated your cost there. It says 51,000 on my
Did I say 5,000?
Yeah.
Oh, if only. Yes, it's $51,297. Thank you, Kelly.
Okay.
You can read. Good job. Here you can tell that I have pledges for a little over $35,000, and I'm still in need of just a little over $16,000. I know this isn't going to come from all from our district, and I'm going to be needing to look at other districts and other Rotary clubs. But I want you to notice the
30
people-
seconds, Cindy.
Perfect. Next slide. Everybody thanks you. So we have a group of people trying to get funds together, but sure need your help on that, and I'm open for questions.
Okay, let me get the share off of here so I can get to the screen. Let's see. Krishna, you said our district has done a district grant about 10 years ago. If you can unmute yourself, I don't see you in my list here to make your comment. There you are.
Yeah.
There you are.
I think we did with Father Francis was in Fort Collins about 10 years ago. He was here on an assignment from Nigeria, and he was in our club for a couple of years. And we did the original project. It was a small project, $8,000 or $10,000. And also, Cindy has been working with we got a global grant. She got a global grant approved now to transfer the many equipments to these hospitals. So this is a next project Cindy has taken up, and I think we hope some of the listeners from other clubs can help her in contribution. And she has worked diligently for the last 3 years on these projects. So I want to congratulate Cindy for her hard work, actually.
Thank you, Krishna.
Okay, Jim is asking, is this project through Project Cure?
This one is not. Project Cure does not acquire this particular diagnostic equipment because it requires blood samples or urine samples to make sure that the equipment's working. Project Cure just doesn't do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any more at this time. If you have questions for Cindy's project, you can email me and I can filter those through to her.
Kelly, I just sent you a question. I don't know why you didn't get it.
I got a never mind, Krishna just answered this project. This answer.
Then it says, ask, what's the status of the cure?
What's the status of the current project, she says.
It's been funded. I'm waiting right now to receive the matching funds from the Rotary Foundation. As soon as I get those matching funds, we'll write a check to Project Cure, and within 30 to 60 days, the containers will be loaded and sent.
Okay, any other questions for Cindy? Okay, thank you, Cindy.
Thanks.
Okay, Krishna is next, but Krishna, please let me get the screen sharing going here.
Thank you.
Okay, you are on.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. For many of you in this group know that we've been involved in matching grants and global grants for a long time. And so far, we are almost completing about 20 global grants. So I have 2 more grants that I'm going to present, one after the other, and I need some help. So this is an area in Shimoga, which is in South India, that we've been working with that group for about 25 years now. So this Shimoga Rotary Club, they have done already the need assessment. They want to develop a breast cancer. Can you go to the first slide? Is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, first one. Yeah, this one. Planning to provide a mammography unit, ultrasound, and a generator and other accessories for a community mammography center. Such facilities are not available for this local area. And they do have what is called, we call counties, they call districts, which covers about 4 districts. There are 4 counties with a close to 5 million population. So they want to establish this center. Can you go to the next slide, please? So I'm going to make it simple, and then if there are questions I can answer. This is on the budget. What they need is a Fuji CR system, mammography machines, ultrasound, generators, and related to the radio protective shield, contingency funds. And the total project cost is about $50,000. Can you go to the next slide, please? And this is where we stand, how the grant proposed financing. And we are, trying to do from our clubs in US, about international sponsor, about 4,000. I do have about $3,000 approved by our club. And we expect to get about 8,000 from the district. I know it is not being considered yet because we have to wait till December or so to see if there is funds left. And one of the things that is different in India is when we do the global grants, India Rotary clubs and their districts also contribute. So we have a lot of, they usually provide about close to 50% of the expenses. That means they also take care of it well because they are putting up their money, and Rotary Club is very active, this club that we have been working. So this is about $50,000 grant. Can you go to the next slide, please? So basically, what I'm looking from the listeners today from other clubs, see whether they could help us in about $1,000. I need about $1,000 to this project. And as I mentioned, RI district, our district, 8,000 is pending. It is not approved yet. And we're going to wait till December, January to see if we'll have the funding for that. The other thing that I would like to do is, we have done a lot of projects, so I'm also very I'm keen on see if some other club want to take up this project as a sponsor. We can contribute, our club will still contribute, and I can navigate with the project contact with them so that they would learn about it. The idea with these kind of meetings is for the clubs who are not involved in the global grants to see whether we can provide a grant and provide some support and mentoring, and that's what I'm looking for. Can you go to the next project, next slide? So this is kind of a very quick information. I have a lot of more information on these projects, but I want to make it simple to see if other clubs are interested in taking up this project. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions for Krishna? Okay, I'm not seeing any come through on my end.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any on yours, Krishna?
No, I don't see.
Okay. Again, if you think of other questions as we go, you can always email me to.
Oh, I see.
Jim says.
Yeah, I see a question from Dot. Dot, I see a question from Dot. Yes, Dot, we're looking for about $1,000 for this project.
So that, are you doing, let's see, John Trone is asking, are you doing projects with multiple clubs in India?
Right now, there's only one club is taking up this project in India. This time it is only one club there, yeah.
Okay, so how much funding are you still needing, Krishna, for this project?
I said $1,000.
But what's your total funding? So if we had 50 clubs
the total funding is about 50,000 total, is about 50,000 number, right? Some odd number.
Okay, but if you have 8 from the district and 3 from your club, are you 11,000 funded in, or do you have already some other clubs? I didn't see that.
No, I think most of the other funds is coming from India. We are looking 4,000 from the club account, so 3,000 is coming from our club, and we need $1,000, and then district will match. Once I get the district funds from our district, 5440, we are asking $8,000. I talked to John and Jim on this project. We have to wait till see whether there is some funding available later part of the year. So this is I'm ready with the project paperwork, but we are not submitting yet because we need to wait till I get the district funding for this project.
Okay. Any other questions for Krishna on this project? Okay, we'll start the slideshow for his other project.
Okay. Thank you all.
Okay.
So this is another project that I've been working for almost like a year and a half or so right now. So this is in northern Karnataka. If you look at this India map, I didn't put all those maps, but it's in the southern section, southern part of India. And we have 5 states, and this is a state from Karnataka. This is the northern part of Karnataka, where which is closer to Mumbai area, for example, just to give you a number name. So this is a rural school educational project for hearing impaired students, for educational and drinking water project. And we are working with a local NGO called BD Tati Memorial Charitable Trust, and they are providing the care for this group since '94. So it's a well-established area in the school, and the beneficiaries are about 100 boys and 80 girls, ages from 1 to 10 and 6 to 15 years. So this is very unique in the sense it is a residential school actually. So these children come from various rural areas, and they cannot stay in any because they come to a different town. So it is a residential area. So they've been, getting other NGOs to help in this. And most of these children have, of course, hearing and speech problems, impaired students. And as you know, in developing countries, any handicap, especially hearing and speech, also any of them, is very neglected because they have different problems and they have lack of facilities. And we have done extensive work on this project in terms of information. A lot of PhD students have looked at this project actually. So it is a very interesting, a lot of information on that. So basically on the budget items, what we are like to do is provide some audio meters, acoustic booths, where they need about 2 of them, for example, in different locations in this campus, where they can check the speech and then also hearing, and provide some hearing aids. And they needed some computers, projectors, science and sports equipment, water filter systems, and some cost of the project management. So this is the funding part of portion of that. In India also, as I mentioned, they have probably worked with a couple of Rotary clubs and not split that up. They are going to provide about $8,000. Their district is planning to provide $8,000. And this is one of the things that I think John Tron was asking. This is Rotary Club of Bangalore Northwest. We have done a lot of work with UB Shankar, and some of you in the audience might know him. He is very good in taking care of this paperwork and understanding. And their club is actually contributing $1,000. So I'm trying to get in India to get multi-clubs get involved. It is kind of a little bit difficult because they want to be themselves in Indian culture and population there, so with Rotary. But now it's changing there. So it is very nice that Bangalore Northwest Club is providing $1,000. And our club has, approved about $4,000 this project. And then what I'm looking in this project is from other clubs, we need about 2,250 or so, roughly that amount. And originally, I think our district, this is a project from last year, and our district has approved 12,500, and I can verify with John and Jim afterwards. So this is a project that was, applied last year, but there were some other issues, and we kind of did a scope of the project has changed. And this is one area where we really checked with the Rotary Foundation, and there was they wanted to improve some of the dorm facilities. And the Rotary Foundation said they will not, cover that because it's not a part of education. So we took that out and changed the budget items. So we are in the final stages of getting their, general okay from Rotary Foundation. Then the project will be, submitted again. Can you go to the next slide, please? So,
okay, you have 1 minute, Krishna.
Okay, so this is the last slide. So you can see we just need about 2,250 from other clubs. And you can always contact me. And so thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, questions for Krishna? Let's see, I have here, what is provided by this project other than equipment?
Oh, well, in the educational systems, basically it is the equipment is provided, but also there will be a part of that I did not put up. They have to train the teachers and the local people, the caregivers and the teachers. So there will be some type of a vocational training to these teachers that we are looking at it also. And I see a question from Robin still. Robin, this is from the matching grant site. You're right. It is an older information that I have. I have not changed it because I'm waiting for the Rotary Foundation to give a green signals for the budgetary item that we have sent to them, and we've been checking with there is a contact person, Chandra Palmer. So we are doing that. Thank you.
Okay, any other further questions for Krishna? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna hop over here to Miss Julia. Hi, Julia.
Hi there.
Let me get your project up here, please. There you are.
Should I go?
Okay,
You ready
go
for me?
it. I'm ready.
Okay. Our project is called Water for Mayans, and we're working in the Cuchumatanes Mountains in Huehuetenango, Guatemala, which I like to say is way in the middle of nowhere. It's a very remote area of Guatemala near the Mexico border, very underserved. And our target population are potato farmers who live on one crop of potato a year. And I want to start by just saying, why Guatemala? Because I don't think people necessarily think of Guatemala first when they think of countries that have a high need. But more than half of the population in Guatemala lives in poverty, and 13% in extreme poverty, which is living on $1.25 a day. Nearly half of children under the age of 5 chronically malnourished. This is one of the highest rates in the world. While extreme poverty is going down in the world, most of the progress has been in Asia, in China, and India. Indigenous Mayans are disproportionately affected by the poverty. They make up 38% of the population, but 73% live in poverty and 28% in extreme poverty. The government doesn't care about the rural indigenous people. We were told by an education group that 70% of the state budget for education stays in Guatemala City. Can I have the next slide, please? So in Guatemala, they have a rainy season and they have a dry season. During the rainy season, water is not an issue, but it is during the dry season. So this is some of what some of the farmers do now, is they build these troughs to try to collect some water during the rainy season to use in the dry season. But you can see this is very unsanitary. There's rodents and all sorts of things that get in there. Plus it's never a sufficient amount of water. So the other way they get water during the dry season is to walk for an hour down to a river and 2 hours back with carrying water. And a lot of times that's the women and the children, so it interferes with the education of the children. Can you go to the next one? This is the water project. This is the second water project we're going to do there. This is our 4th project overall in the Cuchumatanes Mountains. This is just a very simple water catchment system. Water goes on the roof, it goes in the gutters, and into the tanks, and then there's spigots on the bottom of the tanks. So it's consistent with the Mayan culture. You'll see these kinds of things in any kind of Mayan ruins, and it's very easy for them to clean and maintain. It's the most common method in rural Guatemala for water. And this is a sustainable project. All of the villagers, the village councils are required to collect money from the villagers for repair and replace. They're very aware. We come once and we do this, and then it's up to you. Now, this is not a project that's affiliated with any group. This is solely a bunch of Rotarians here and a bunch of Rotarians there. And so the costs are down because, you know, obviously we don't charge for our work here. And all the labor is either done by the Rotarians down there or mostly the villagers as far as just the grunt work, which gives them a lot of buy-in, and it's good for their self-esteem. My club, Evanston, is a small club. This project is boots on the ground. We go every 2 years to go to the projects. We have a great relationship. We have a great host club there, the Wayway Tango Rotarians. When we go there, we meet with the villagers, we meet with the Rotarians, we do a little bit of sightseeing, and we just have a great time. Those Rotarians are a lot of fun. And what we're looking for is, this is almost a $90,000 project, and we have to get about half of that with the matches, and we're only $4,000 short. And we've been able to fund these projects as a small club by getting $1,000, $500, $2,000, $3,000, sometimes $5,000 from a variety of clubs around the district, and as well as some personal donations. And we're interested in clubs that just want to help us out, but we're also interested if there's clubs that want to join us in this project. You're invited to come with us on a trip down to Guatemala and see the projects. It's very accessible. It's not as expensive as going other places. The time zone's the same as here. So besides the Evanston Rotarians, we've had Rotarians from Rawlins and Worland already go. And once you go, you're going to be sold on these projects. So like I said, we have a long-term relationship, and we plan to do more projects. We do one about every 2 to 3 years because we're small, they're small, and it takes us about that long to do a full project. Okay, I think that's about it. I hope I remembered
Ready
everything.
for questions, Julia?
Yeah, I think I had one or two.
Okay, yes, I do see.
Like 5.
Oh my goodness, yeah. You want me to read them to you, or you're seeing them?
Yeah, please, because I'm not catching them all.
Okay, the latest
one person asked about water filtration. The Wayway Tenango Rotarians have come up with their own ways of funding that and providing that inside the house. So, and number one, the rainwater is fairly clean anyway. They clean out the gutters and all that, and run it all through the system and clean it at the beginning of the rainy season. And then, so it's fairly clean, but so the water filtration system is just in the kitchens.
Okay, I see. When is the trip?
We just went last February. We go every 2 years, so that would be in 2021. Sorry, there's not one sooner if you're interested, but if you just let me know your email, I can keep you apprised of the progress and everything on that.
Okay, same person
And it is a
asked,
global grant. Somebody was asking. Sorry.
the same person asked if this was anywhere near OEST.
I don't know what OF is.
OEST.
Is that a town or something? I don't know. It's Wayway Tenango, HUE Tenango.
Okay, let's see here.
It's actually a global grant, 1989-785. We've been getting a lot of information about it. It's a literacy grant. It's pretty large.
Oh, yeah. The Guatemala Literacy Project, the first time I ever went to Guatemala in 2010 was with the Literacy Project. And that's how we met the Rotarians in Wayway Tenango. And there was a pilot district thing going on. So we did our first water project with them. And so I'm familiar with the literacy. It's excellent too. And they were in that area in 2010, but I met with some of them recently. They have pulled back because it's so remote, and they're concentrating on other areas. But I'm familiar with Guatemala Literacy Project. It's a good project.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Somebody did ask how many clubs are actually contributing to this project?
We have 8 or 10. We have a lot. We have you know, we have a couple clubs that are very close to us, like Rock Springs and Kemmer, they help. Rollins and Whirlin, I'm telling you, people went and they're on fire about it. Marty Hinkle from the Whirlin Club is like my fundraising partner, and she hits that part of the state. This year, we've had some clubs from Jackson. We have Jackson Breakfast this time. We have Cody is given $5,000. We have Casper Five Trails. Casper gave a little bit. Even Fort Collins Breakfast. Thank you, you guys. And because I know a couple of you are also have your own projects. So yeah, that's what we try to do. Lander, we just recently got some from Lander. So we try to, and sometimes it's small amounts and bigger amounts, and that's been our, and we will come to your club and do a presentation too about the project if you'd like after it's over or whatever. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Julia.
Hey, thank you guys.
Okay, Robin. Why can't I get you unmuted? There you are. Okay, let me show your. Oh, here we go. My computer is going to do it to me again.
So while Kelly's bringing that up, I want to thank Julia because this next project also has to do with the Mayan village. And I really appreciate her outlining some of the economic challenges in Guatemala, as well as some of the specific challenges for the Mayan culture. So thank you, Julia. It was a good lead-in.
Thank you very much.
Apologies, guys. I'm trying to get rid of these. My computer is not liking all these open. Okay, let's try this again.
The first slide she's going to pull up, you don't necessarily need to read yet. I will go through some of the details. If you could put it in slide mode.
I am.
Here's the background. Here's the background on this. For those of you that don't know me, I have an engineering background, and I'm retired, but I teach design engineering classes at Colorado School of Mines. So this was a senior design project. It was one of my senior design teams at Colorado School of Mines. And they actually won the entire senior design competition last semester out of 55 teams for this project. As you may know, Colorado School of Mines has historically been petroleum, mining, that kind of thing. It's branched out into many, many more disciplines, including a new humanitarian engineering degree. And many of the students that worked on this project were in the humanitarian engineering degree program. So let me tell you a little bit about this. Next slide, please, Kelly. So as Julia talked about, the Mayan culture is dying in Guatemala. This is a specific Mayan culture that has 60-member families in a Bio-Itza reserve where they have a Spanish school and are trying to maintain their Mayan culture and sustainability. What this project is going to do is actually help them turn their community into what's called a, what's it called? Just lost my ecotourism, where people will immerse themselves into the Mayan culture and pay to stay in the cottages and take Spanish classes, and then the culture will receive the funding from that and be able to sustain their livelihood. So next project. Next slide, sorry. So what these kids did was all of the needs for their community and to create this ecotourism. So they had to design the off-grid cottages. They had to design the power system. They had to design the water catchment system, as well as areas for things like the Spanish classes that the people will attend while they're there. They also made sure that the designs were using the local wood. As you can see here, the chicle gum tree and other hardwoods from the area. And the club were we're working with to do this is the Tikal Rotary Club, which is not exactly in this community, but it's nearby. Next slide. So this kind of shows some of the features. You have to build these cottages up on stilts because of the floodplain. It's also very difficult to build these structures into the solid rock that exists there. So they did the cottages, they did solar power, and as I mentioned, they also did a water catchment system to catch the water during the raining season, and then to have enough water to last through the dry season. Next slide. The other thing that was really special about this is the team was able to travel there and meet folks in the community and actually do community engagement. So the community engagement that they were able to do would serve as the community assessment that Rotary requires, because it shows that it exactly meets the needs of those folks. You'll see there the cost estimate to build all of this would be $84,000. It would probably, we're asking for around $100,000 because we would have to include some labor to get this built. Next slide. And I wanted to show this slide because it's so exciting to me, and all of you on the phone, I know this is part of the reason you're interested in international projects. This is all of the Rotary Club of Fort Collins international projects since 1991. You'll see the money that actually came from our club and from members of our club was around $500,000, but that's been turned into $5 million. That's what's so special and so wonderful about working with the World Fund and Rotary International, is to be able to, what I call, print money. So I just wanted to show the kind of leverage that we all can benefit from here, and I'm happy to talk with any of you about any of the projects we've done or help you get started on projects if you're just getting started with international projects. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Robin. Let's see here.
Power.
I hear what is included in the power part of the project.
It's solar power to power the cottages, Jim, as well as the to upgrade their current power system, which is really quite poor. So it's power for the community as well as power for the ecotourism cottages and other power needs at the village. Did that answer your question?
Any other questions?
Yes, that answered it, Robin. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm not seeing any come in the chat.
Okay, I forgot something.
Okay.
Many of you may be familiar with the CSU Rotaract group. They have donated $5,000 to this project from one of their fundraisers and are asking for the $5,000 match from the district on that money as well. So we have Rotary Club of Fort Collins as well as CSU Rotaract currently contributing to this, and we're asking for the maximum 10,000 DDF from 5440, and we're reaching out to other clubs around the region as well.
Great. Okay, thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Okay, Julia, you are up. Let me get your project up here before you start. Okay, go ahead.
Great. Well, my name's Julia Heemstra, and I'm presenting on the Ensika Secondary School for the Rotary Club of Jackson Hole. We're working in close collaboration on this project with the Grahamstown Rotary Club. Next slide, please. Great. Just a little bit of background on the project. I grew up in South Africa. I'm a dual citizen, and I returned to work in my hometown, Grahamstown, both during and after college. At that time, I was the only white person working in the township, which is otherwise known as the shantytown outside of Grahamstown. I started returning to South Africa regularly in 2018 and was committed to continuing to give back. And so with the contamination of the municipal water source in May of that same year, it became clear that the most imminent crisis was definitely water. At that point, I connected with the Rotary Club of Jackson Hole and we started our work together. Next slide, please. We decided to focus our efforts on the areas of highest impact, which really were schools, clinics, and orphanages. And so the first water projects were focused on providing water filters to filter out the biocontaminants. Pretty much none of these areas actually had access to clean water at that time. Clearly, this was an immediate short-term solution to address the water crisis. And so in January of this year, I was able to create access to clean water for over 2,500 people with these filters. But we knew that this was not going to be the long-term solution. So next slide, please. One of the schools that I worked with was the Numbulelo High School. They have 953 students there. And you can see that these are the students who are involved with the student government. We have a representative from each classroom in this picture. And they put together water filters for each classroom. And you can see what the water was like both before and after filtration. Next slide, please. Shortly after my return to Jackson, I heard from the principal at Numbulelo that the water crisis had actually worsened. And so schools were closing in the township because they had literally run out of water. And so working very closely with the Grahamstown Rotary Club, the Jackson Hole Rotary Club swung into action and developed a sustainable water system that included rainwater harvesting tanks, which you can see here. Next slide, please. Doing some significant plumbing repair, both on the outside plumbing and also the guttering system. Next slide, please. And then also putting up some 10,000 liter water tanks that we shipped across the country to store the gray water so we could continue to have water for the toilets to be flushed. What was interesting was what was actually closing the schools was that the students and the teachers were unable to flush toilets, and so it became a hygienic issue. We definitely knew we had accomplished what we had set out to do when we heard from the principal that apparently the water had been off for 3 days and they had no idea at the school because the water system that we had developed there was working so well. So our current project is actually working with the other large secondary school within the township. This project was developed by the Grahamstown Rotary Club and presented to us. And they designed this project and have a very well-established relationship with the principal of the school. One of the things that I think is so worthy of note is that when this principal started in 2012, there was a 27% graduation rate amongst the students. And she's actually moved that to over 87%. And the student who ranked highest in the region for matriculate grades last year was actually an Nsika Secondary School student. What's also very worthy of note is that these are the free schools. The other schools are a lot harder for children from low-income families to attend because they have high school fees to enter those schools. So like the Numbulelo project, this project is going to focus on developing sustainable water solutions for the school. Next slide, please.
Okay, 1 minute.
Great. You can see these are the current state of the student bathrooms. And next slide, please. Some more slides of the student bathrooms. Our first focus will be on repairing these bathrooms. And then next slide, please. The next piece will be really looking at how we can focus on getting the tanks where we have the stored borehole water connected to the school system, and then also addressing the fact that we have overflowing sewage leaks from the tanks, which are creating a wetland. That again is a hygienic issue. So lastly, final slide, please. This is our project and our budget. We've been very fortunate and have been able to garner a lot of support from clubs. So really the only remaining amount that has not been funded yet is $10,687 of this phase. And so we are interested in any support that we can have for this. Questions?
Okay, I have from Wendy, how often do you travel there?
I did 5 trips in the last 2 years, but I have a full-time job at the hospital here in Jackson, and probably will drop that down to 1 trip a year moving forward. And we are planning to connect our Interact group at the high school. They're very interested in traveling to Nsika, and right now the plan is to develop a Zoom relationship between our Interact high schoolers here and the Interact group at NSECA, and then eventually hopefully take some students and some Rotarians over to the township.
Okay, and another question, have you done other projects in this area?
Really, Nobalelo was the first project, and then significant project with a long-term solution. And then, of course, the original short-term solution, which was 2,500 people receiving access to clean water for less than $1 a person.
Okay. Any other questions? Don't see any more coming through. Dot, you had just commented on Julia's name. Did you have a question? You can, I unmuted you.
What has?
Oh, you've got a lot of background noise. You'll have to type me a message.
Can I make one point, Kelly, as we wait for that message? And first of all, I think it's important to note that in South Africa, part of the issue right now is that an entire generation did not receive an education, and they're the generation that's running the country. And so that's why we feel like it's so important to really work with this next generation to make sure that they can graduate with the education they'll need to lead the country. And really, through working with Rotary, we're able to bypass so much of the corruption that does exist within the country. I think it's, again, important to note that that is an issue, but Rotary really provides us with the infrastructure so that we can avoid that.
Okay, great. I don't see Dot's question coming through, but maybe she can email me her question and I can get it to you.
Great.
Okay. Thank you, Julia. We will move on to our next presenter.
Thank you.
Which is Mr. Dave Stewart. Dave, I've unmuted you, but let me get your presentation up here, please.
Thanks, Kelly.
Okay.
Okay, so I've been working with Santa Maria Orphanage since about 2005. It's the second largest orphanage in Mexico, about 300 kids, ranging from age of 2 to high school. And part of our desire there is to help them become self-sustaining. So next slide. So this work, we've done a lot of things there. We've put in water system, wastewater treatment systems, a rabbit system, a tilapia system, and all of that has worked very well. But this project that we're talking about now is a carry on forward. So one of the things we started to work with was a spices to college concept. Spices are probably some of the most valuable crops that you can do, and Mexican oregano and basil and cilantro are very valuable in Mexico. Originally, we thought we could work with Savory Spice out of Denver and Fort Collins and actually bring it to the U.S., but getting it across the border was more arduous than we thought. So we rethought that system, and we put in a system to irrigate about 300 acres. So there's a small stream that goes by the orphanage. This orphanage was a Franciscan monastery in the 1800s and 1900s, and during the Cristo War was actually abandoned by the priests. But the Archdiocese in Querétaro owns this site, and so we have about 1,000 acres there for this orphanage. We currently irrigate about 300 acres for alfalfa and corn, and so currently they have cows, goats, sheep, and so they're able to do a lot of things like they milk their own cows to provide milk, yogurt. The corn, they also harvest and do their own tortillas. So they have a tortilla machine at the orphanage. And so our concept here is to help a lot of the orphans in high school to become farmers. The state of Querétaro is very similar to Colorado and Wyoming. It's a high desert and has a lot of agriculture there. So we are training these orphans to become farmers and be involved in the agricultural business. Next slide. The concept this project is to construct a new reservoir. So we already have the reservoir. What we have to do is line it. The reservoir was installed about 5 or 6 years ago, but leaks tremendously. So we need to do that. So we have a matching grant application of about $67,000. We have the Querétaro Rotary Club, the San Luis Rotary Club down in Alamosa, the Helena Rotary Club. Each of them have a district. We also were able to add the Park City Rotary Club out of Park City, Utah, and their district. And we believe that this will add a lot of sustainability to the orphanage, will increase the amount of acreage, will double it to about another 300 acres, 600 acres total. This is a very successful project. The orphanage is recognized throughout Mexico as being one of the best orphanages there. And we find that going back there. So I visit the orphanage about 2 or 3 times a year. Our next trip with Rotarians will be in March of 2020 with Carroll College. So they're Engineers Without Borders involved in this project and has been since 2005. And so we believe that this will be a great project. I'm looking for about 10,000 left for the contributions to the project, and we would invite. We have other Rotarians that come down all the time, but we would invite Rotarians to come down anytime that they want to do so.
Okay, do we have questions for Dave? Okay, I don't see any coming through right now, Dave. If we get any, I will filter them your way.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. I think we're actually making time. We are on our last presentation. Mr. Mehta from, I believe you're from the Fort Collins Club, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let me get your slide up here for you.
And it's Rajiv.
Where is my mouse? My mouse disappeared.
Mr. Mehta is my dad.
I've heard that before from a few Rotarians.
Yeah, I picked it up from some of them.
My mouse is kind of, apparently I need a new computer because it's not liking all these windows being open. There we go.
Okay, last but not the least, I promise not to keep you very long.
Okay, we're ready to go.
I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it?
Nope. Anyone else see this?
Didn't share. Okay, let me try again.
Aha.
Is it there now?
There it is. Thank you. So
There
this
we
project, yes, this project is a project in the city of Bhopal in India. It's a vocational training and livelihood center project. And on the matching grants, it's grant number 1899. It's a $100,000 total project. Back to the first slide, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I've been involved with the Bhopal school. This is a school of about 550 kids, half girls and half boys. This woman, she's almost like a mini Mother Teresa. She's donated about 35 acres of her own family property and wealth and everything, and she lives like this with the school kids. And she's been running the school for 21 years. She's run the school from kindergarten through grade 8. I got involved with a few other charities, and we began funding this grades 9 and 10, and we've been doing this. and been funding a few other projects that the Rotary typically would not fund. So this is a snapshot of the one of the areas inside on the school grounds. Next, please. So India, 1.3 billion people, 21% of the population lives below the national poverty line, and 50 million people of the employed, or 21% of the employed, make $1.9 per day. China's workers make actually less than that. $1.37 is their number. So it's bad, but not as bad as some. Anyhow, next slide, please. This is the state. It's one of the largest, the second largest state in the area. The urban poverty is 19.7%, rural poverty 37%, and its unemployment rate rose by 53%. I couldn't tell you why any of that. Could be weather, could be a variety of different reasons. Next slide, please. And Bhopal is the capital of Madhya Pradesh. It's a very popular 1.8. Now it must be 2 million. It increases so rapidly, and the population density is 855 people living per square kilometer. That's kind of the density. Next slide, please. So this is a very interesting slide, and a pesticide in Bhopal in 1984. Many of you might have heard about this disaster. 32 tons of toxic gases. This was a fertilizer plant by Union Carbide in that city, or in the outskirts of the city. It dumped 32 tons of toxic gases in the city and killed between 4 and 10, 16,000. The numbers vary, and there are a variety of different estimates. Some parts of the city have still not recovered. Most of it has, through a lot of effort, and it goes on. There's a movie that was made in 2014, Martin Sheen, and I highly recommend that you watch the movie. And I think Cal Penn and Martin Sheen both star in the movie, and it's incredible. I'm sorry, I think this is I've disclosed some of the information about the movie. Anyhow, next slide, please. This school here is a location of the school, and as you can see the picture down there, surrounding the school is the slum area on the right side, and most of the kids, there are 20,000, the population of the slum area is about 20,000. And the kids, they come from broken families, they come from parents that probably have employment for 15 days in a month. Most of the times, one of the parent is either an alcoholic, has a criminal background, or is unemployed, and, dysfunctional completely. And this woman has been, Dr. Gunita, her name. She has a PhD in education. She's been running the school very effectively, and she's got great grades. And compared to the other schools in the region, she has her report card shows, extremely well. Next slide, please. It's a registered charity in this part of the country, and the kids are between the ages of 6 and 16 typically, because it goes to 10th grade. Next slide. And this is a picture of some of the kids there. We visit the school. I go there in 4 years. We've probably gone 3 times. I go once, and worst case twice in every 2 years. This is me in the middle picture, and in picture number, the person handing that one small child is the principal of the school, and there's Dr. Gunita again on the right. Next slide, please.
Okay, 1 minute.
Oops. All right, almost done. More classroom information. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the district governor of Rotary on the right side, and this is us doing some work there. Anyhow, next slide, please. This is a building that was constructed through other charities to house a vocational center. The bottom of the building will be held, the vocational center will be held there. You can see some of the construction going on in the building, but it's been completed since the picture was taken. Next slide, please. These are the vocations that were picked. We've done a community assessment. Chandra Palmer, who's the regional officer, grant officer from Rotary International, and Elena Kushner, they've looked at this community assessment, and then we've come up with these vocations and they were pretty impressed with the community center assessment. And these are the So it's computer, plumbing, electrician, beautician, and sewing. We also did a verbal survey when we went to the school. We keep talking to the kids there, and they pretty much concur with all of these professions. They'd be interested in doing this. Once we run this for about 2 years, the project will run for 2 years. We are expecting to get support from the local government after that for sustainability and all the local businesses in that region. And that's being conducted. All the survey and the commitments are being conducted by the local Rotary Club in Bhopal. Next slide, please. Their monthly household income is extremely low, $141 a year. Okay, and the housing condition is extremely poor. So one of the things that the kids do is come to the school. They get a square meal there, and they get clothing and some hygiene, and they can bathe, they can take a shower. All of this stuff happens in the school itself. Next slide, please. Lack of technical skill is one of the critical problems in the region, and the local community has actually verbally kind of committed to actually supporting this kind of school. The school can have a great deal of benefit for the region. Next slide, please. And this is the international committee, and these are the people that have been proposed on the grants website, and the people from the host. There are 3 people there from the host committee on the right side. Next slide, please. And this is completely in line with one of the missions of the Rotary, and it's been explained here. And I think all of us know about this, and this is completely in line with that. All the pieces are in place. There'll be equipment bought through this grant money, plus education of the teachers there, and it will continue to sustain for 2 years. Next slide. I think that's the end. And thank you very much. And questions? You've got to see the movie anyhow, if there are no questions. See the movie, and movie might answer many of your questions.
I need to unmute myself.
What's that?
You couldn't hear me. I had myself muted.
Okay, the movie is pretty exciting. I think it's a cliffhanger, and I think people should watch the movie.
Definitely.
It's a recent movie, 2014. Martin Sheen at his best, I guess.
Okay, Krishna is asking, how much do you still need for this project?
I think 15,000. I think I'm going to get a commitment for another 5, and I think we'll be looking at 10 pretty soon.
Okay.
Any more?
Anybody else?
Krishnamurti, I'm going to come and hit your club up for some money at least, and I want to do a presentation there.
I think everybody on this call, you should just go to all the
I think I can do a little tour.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any questions for any of our presenters at this point? I am not seeing any hands go up. John Griffith says, what was the name of the movie?
Oh, boy. Go back to the last slide.
To me.
I mean, I think Pray for Rain or something. Wait, go back, please. Wait a minute. I thought I had it up here.
Do you have your?
Yeah, hold on. I might have my slide up here.
Oops.
I have it here. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll 1 second.
It was on. You had the name of it there.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, Wendy says, is Bhopal Pray for Rain?
Pray for Rain, correct. Pray for Rain. That was it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, one other little tidbit, if you have a minute. Most of the time you see in encampments and wildlife sanctuaries that the wildlife is enclosed in a fence somewhere. The city of Bhopal is actually enclosed in a fence, and the animals roam wild outside the fence, including tigers in the city of Bhopal. So anybody want to join me sometime to go to Bhopal, that might be interesting.
Okay, Mr. Jim, it's back to you.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. I do want to thank Kelly for organizing this Zoom meeting. This is our first one, and so I think it went extremely well, and I hope everybody was inspired as much as I was by the projects that are going on. You know, one of the main reasons for these projects, other than completing the actual work of the project, is to get Rotarians to know each other in other parts of the countries, and also just getting to know other people in Rotary clubs around here when you partner with them on the projects. I know one of the most memorable Rotary experiences I had was going to Guatemala with the Rotary Club of Fort Collins and taking Interact and Rotaract students down there. It's also a great way to get youth involved in projects because they definitely love to do international projects. So I hope everybody supports these projects in some way or another, whether it's through funding or participation or just giving them some advice on some project that you've done, maybe that's similar to it. And I want to thank everybody for participating. And we're letting everybody go 8 minutes early. I hope nobody's upset about that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody, for calling in. It was great to see everybody. And if there's nothing else, John, do you have anything to add? Nope. Okay. I'm trying to get you unmuted. There you are.
Thank you all for coming. There was one question about sharing PowerPoints.
Yeah, I did share the PowerPoints on the Dropbox link. I think you all should have gotten that.
I got it.
Okay.
If you need anything else, feel free
some other
just to
shaking heads, so
email in.
Okay.
Please share it with other, like if we wanted to forward it, or do they have to have access to the Dropbox? Like, did you just list us that were on the call, or can we forward it to our committee so
Sure.
we can further vet? That's my question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I did not make it private. You can forward that link and others can view the projects.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Well, have a good evening, everyone. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.